Warning, this podcast may cause excessive dad jokes, sudden bursts of motivation, and the irresistible urge to high-five yourself.
Welcome to the Daddius Project, where we help dads master the biggest and messiest project of your life, dadhood.
I'm Scott Vatcher, recovering perfectionist, dad of one teenage girl, and a guy who once didn't sleep for 6 months straight.
And I'm Evan Hill, professional chaos coordinator, dad of 3 teenagers, and living proof that duct tape can fix a sippy cup temporarily.
Each week, we'll hit you with real talk, dad hacks, and the kind of inspiration that doesn't require matching socks.
Ready to level up? Let's build this dad life together.
Yo, Dad. Dad, get off the phone. Dad.
Yo.
Dad.
Yo.
Get off the phone. Kids. They want your presence more than your presence, hey?
That's right.
Dad, get off the phone. What are you doing?
I was online buying a chicken and an egg. I ordered them, and I'll let you know which
came
one comes first.
Oh. I snuck into that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
And along with the chicken and the egg, you know, to put a salad together, you gotta have tomatoes, right? Why did the tomato blush?
I don't know.
Because it saw the salad dressing.
I get it now. That took a while.
I was gonna say, you don't even get it yet, do you?
Took a while.
that took a minute. Like,
Not the sharpest knife in the drawer today.
No. And to go along with that salad, you know, some people like them, some people don't. Mushrooms. But you know, the mushroom always gets invited to the party. Do you know why? Because a mushroom is a fungi.
I thought it was because he didn't take up much room.
No.
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was a fungi. That's why.
Like that. Like Kawhi Leonard.
Huh?
Kawhi Leonard.
Quiet Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard from Toronto Raptors. He's very unemotional.
Is he a mushroom?
He's very unemotional, but he had he's always like level-headed. He doesn't show, ups and downs like most NBA players, right? And so it takes a lot to like get him excited. But he got interviewed, and I think he was being interviewed by somebody when he was going into Toronto, and he described himself as a fun guy. It was just the amount of memes and like.
Was it? It's like. Yes, I'm very excited to be part of the Toronto Raptors, particularly because I am a fun guy.
Kind of like that.
Kind of like that. Okay.
Yeah, if you search it up,
see.
You'll see.
I did see a comparison video. It was quite well done, but of course you can pick and choose. It said NHL versus NBA, and it showed how physical the game is, and like they were showing people getting checked into the boards and their heads smashing the glass and the glass shattering into 1,000 pieces, and a guy like getting checked in open ice, like knocked out cold. And then it showed a bunch of NBA stuff where like the players were completely like, it was like soccer. It was like they zoom in and like they don't even get hit, but they're
Yeah.
reacting like it's the biggest thing in the world. Like literally, you can see like there's not even close to being hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty funny, you know. You know, not to take away from the NBA, it definitely is physical, but it ain't hockey when it comes to
No, it's
physicality.
It's not hockey. That's for sure.
No.
Hockey's another level.
Oh,
Hockey,
it's bananas.
rugby, football, like I mean those sports are in another league. Definitely basketball is a contact sport, no question. But
Yes, I
Not at-
totally agree with that. There's no
not
doubt.
at the
There's
level.
there's contact and there's physicality.
yeah,
But yeah,
100%.
who's who? He's a fun guy. I'm guessing he's not in the finals. I don't even know who's in the finals of the NBA. Is it Has it started yet?
It's but it's the Indiana Pacers, which are
Again,
was not at all. Nobody
Supposed
thought
to be?
they'd make it. No,
Right.
never. I think maybe one of the lowest seeds that got in. Oh no, maybe they're a fifth seed, but nobody thought they would get this far. And then OKC, so Oklahoma City. And
who's the dude on that one?
yeah,
Who's the?
SGA, so Shai Gillis Alexander. He's actually
Okay.
Canadian.
Oh, really?
He
Yeah,
won,
yeah.
He,
Oh.
he won MVP this year for the league.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's only the
I feel like I
second-
watched. I feel like I watched a documentary on the Olympics, and I saw him.
Yeah, he played for
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah,
He's only
yeah.
the second MVP in Canada in the NBA.
Who's the first?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I'm so bad with names. Steve Nash. Steve Nash.
Oh, Nash, way back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think he was the coach for Canada, wasn't he? In the Olympics this year or last year, whatever it was.
That was Steve Kerr. That was Steve. Oh wait, no. For Canada, maybe. Yeah.
I think it was Nash. Again, the only thing I did was watch that documentary, so
Yeah.
not really sure.
Yeah.
But it hasn't
Speaking
started
of-
yet, has it?
Yeah. Thursday.
Oh, same with NHL Stanley Cup starts Thursday.
Oh, really?
Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew they were close, but I didn't know they were like exactly the same.
So who made it into the Stanley Cup Finals? Florida or no?
Florida Panthers. That's 3 years in a row, and they won last year. And Edmonton, baby.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a
Okay,
It's
we got
a
something to cheer about.
yeah. It's the same as last year. So Edmonton,
okay.
Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Last year, hey, if you don't remember.
Toronto had Florida 3-1, I think, in the series. Didn't
was
they?
it 3-1 or was it 2-0? It was 2-0.
Oh,
I think Florida ended up winning.
yeah, they ended up winning. It went to a game 7.
Oh, well, I know Florida ended up winning, but I'm just trying to think, was it 4-2 or 4-3? Did it go to game 7?
4-3. Yeah,
4-3.
yeah, it went to game 7. Yeah,
And
Yeah,
then they
it was-
steamrolled.
and they just it was like I watched the part of that game and I was like, how did this get to a game 7? Florida is clearly unreal. Like, they're a
Well,
good team.
Well, yeah, it was interesting because Toronto won the first two, and then like game 3, I think Florida won, I believe, and it was like 6-0, something ridiculous. Like the games that they won were blowouts, and then they
Yeah.
steamrolled Carolina 4-1. So that
Yeah.
was bananas. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
but
speaking
Edmonton
of-
steamrolled Dallas 4-1 too. So they're both looking better. So it's gonna be on. It is on.
Yeah,
and
I'm looking forward to
you
that.
know, it might be a segue into what we're supposed to be talking about today.
Yeah, I've been trying to
is
segue into it a few times, but
Yeah. No, we just kept going there. Sorry to bore the audience if you're not basketball or hockey fans, but this is really what P6 is, isn't it? Play.
yeah.
And it's like shooting
Even
shit with
just-
your buddies.
Yeah, shooting the shit. I was going to say, just talking about it. Just talking about it. Having someone to talk to about it is also a thing too, right?
Exactly.
That's
yes.
part of it. That's having the person to talk about it, and then actually talking about it because there's a common interest and you both have some level of knowledge about it. That's another level. And then there's actually playing it. That's another level, right?
That is another level.
That's another level.
So I got a quick story for that one.
Yeah.
So when it comes to my rebirth of hockey interest, I may have even mentioned this before. I know you might know the story. I can't remember if the podcast knows the story or not, but a year and a half ago, I brought my family back to Canada for a trip, and happened to be in Montreal and go, hey, let's go to the Montreal Canadiens. It was just, something random. My daughter had never even seen hockey before. My wife wasn't really interested in hockey, but it was like, we're there, why not? And my daughter fell in love, like absolutely head over heels fell in love with hockey. And so ever since, we've been fully back on board. And there was a point to that story.
Well, I mean, you told the story before, by the way, so I know.
Okay, that's why I did a really condensed version.
She watches every single game, and it's a thing, that you guys share now.
Yes, but no, here's the story. Here's the actual story. That's why I did like a really condensed version. So the actual story is what you just talked about when you said the next level is playing. Mm-hmm. So you may or may not realize, but ice hockey is not a huge thing in Australia, right? We are more of a summer sport. Like, look at the Olympics. We actually do very, very well in the Summer Olympics, even though we have such a small country. Mm-hmm. Not so much in the winter. Yeah, we don't have an ice hockey team playing in the Olympics or anything. No. But what is over here is you can play roller hockey, right? So you can use your rollerblades. Mm. And so just down the street, like 5 minutes from my house, there's not even a league, but just a rec hockey that on a Monday night for an hour to an hour and a half, you can go and just play, and whoever shows up, you make some teams. If there's enough people, you get a goalie, and you just go out on the quote-unquote ice. It is like set up like a hockey rink. It's got all the boards. It's just no ice. Mm. Cool. And so I'm like, cool. And I thought about it for years. And about, I'm going to say a year ago, I was like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. And so I scrounged up I went on Facebook Marketplace and I scrounged up an old pair of rollerblades. I'd done a fair bit of rollerblading, but like straight line stuff, not hockey, which is very different than like just rolling down a. Yeah. And I'd played hockey as a kid, hadn't touched a hockey stick for 40 years. I don't know, a long time, 37 years, whatever it is. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go do it. It's rec league, whatever. And so, you know what? All I got was skates, and I borrowed the equipment down there. That's right. So I had nothing. Uh-huh. And get on, do a little, skate around, warming up for 5 minutes. And then there's benches, just like regular hockey. But it's not as much as like in the NHL, like you jump off the boards and, off you go. I opened the door, and my first step out, because the step was like, it was bigger than usual. It was a good 30 to 40 centimeters deep. And so I wasn't expecting it to be so far from the step down. And I stepped on, and my hamstring went. And so I went, oh my God, I've never felt anything like that before. And so I instantly turned around and came back off, and everyone was like, mate, what happened? I'm like, man, I did something to my hamstring. And I was like, this is not good. And I hence took off the equipment and I left. And I was like, wow, that was an interesting one. And then
this guy, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. There's this guy.
No, you finish up.
There's this guy at band camp.
This is funny.
And so my hamstring was, it must have been a micro tear, because I literally heard it and felt it. but I didn't pop it or anything, so it wasn't too bad. So I didn't go back for about 6 weeks. And I show up again, and they're like, dude's back.
You again.
You again. What are you going to hurt this time? And so I play, and it's okay. I'm glad I have some gear on because, man, it's not like going in a straight line. I was falling, and you know what? Oh, yeah. As hard as ice is to fall on, concrete is way harder. And so I play for a couple of weeks, and I'm getting used to it, and then probably 3 or 4 weeks in, and there's this one dude, like they're all way better than me, but there's this one dude, and he's just brilliant. And so for some reason or another, I said, I'm going to try and keep up with this guy. So I really turn around and skate, and I fall on my side. Oh boy. And my trochanteric bursa, so that's like the bursa, the little fat pad on your hip bone, land directly on that and burst it.
Oh my God.
And I have to admit, as far as I can remember in my lifetime, it was the most painful thing I've ever had to deal with. I almost threw up. It was that fucking painful. It was so brutal. And I haven't been back since.
Why?
So
it sounds so good.
Concrete is way friggin' harder than ice.
Amazing. It sounds amazing. I don't know why you don't go back.
I don't know why I don't go back either. 8 years of mountain biking, I've not hurt myself that bad, and I've come off my bike quite a few times. Man, that was brutal.
Reminds me of this guy that I know, and we've been becoming friends, and he knew I was running the basketball program down here. So we have guys that come out Tuesday, Thursday, and we run, and now it's full court. It's pretty competitive. It's a great group of guys. And he played a lot of ball when he was younger, like in high school, and I think he did play in a men's league. And I think that ended with a brawl. Like they literally shut down the league because it ended in a brawl. And it was in the newspapers and the whole bit. I remember him telling me this story. And so he dusts off the cobwebs and he comes out. And I don't know if it was the first game or the second game, but he was playing, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't see him anymore. And then he's gone. And I find out that the ball was being passed, and he put his hand out to deflect the ball, and the ball just like hit his finger, and it broke. And so he was off for, I don't know, it was a solid month. It was a few months before he was able to come back. And so he really wanted to play. He was kind of nervous about it because he's like one of the first times I go out, I break my finger.
Yeah. So
he comes back. The first game he plays, he breaks his toe.
His toe?
His toe.
And you haven't seen him since?
He actually has finally come back again, and he played his first game, and he did not get injured. So,
that's a win, really, right? Like,
yeah,
you play a whole game of basketball and not breaking a bone. That's a win. That's a win right there.
I've never met somebody break a bone playing basketball, let alone break a bone twice on either the first or second time you're out. That's bad luck. Or he's got brittle bones. I don't know. But, yeah. So speaking of play, what's your go-to now? Like, I mean, you're obviously missing something really big in your life, not having this hockey anymore. Really, I'm sure that's a huge. How are you feeling that? Like, what are you doing? Because that's got to hurt.
It did hurt. It hurt immensely. But like from a play perspective now, my two go-tos are mountain biking and golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so dads, if you haven't picked up on this, P6 is play. And play, I mean, I'll share my story. Play is not one of the P6s that it's one of the P6, yeah, it's one of the P6. Is not one of the ones that I excelled in at all. I was actually really terrible in it. I think that I think it had a lot to do with how I was observing my environment with my parents growing up. I didn't see my parents really play. Like they were working and making meals, and I didn't see really my dad playing sports. I didn't see him working out. I didn't see him. I just saw him working. I saw him working, and if he wasn't working in as a chiropractor, he was working on the property or he was working in the shop. He was just constantly working. And my mom, they were really separated when I was like able to remember stuff, and so she was working. She was working and going to school and working and taking care of us. And so when I got into being an adult and I had kids, it was just like you don't play. Like, that was my blueprint. My blueprint is like you work, you take care of the kids, and but before having kids, I was playing basketball, and I loved it, and I was working out, and we would my wife and we would travel, and we'd go hikes, and we'd do lots of stuff together. But things shifted for me when we had kids, and now it was like this huge burden of like making the money so that our family could survive, and it felt like I needed to put all of my energy into that. And so I wasn't prioritizing play in my life at all. Like it took a while. I did try to go into playing basketball again. I was in a league for a little while, and then I got a concussion, so it like took me out. And
In basketball.
yeah, it was a head-to-head contact, and yeah, it was a guy came. I couldn't see him coming, and he just bang, just hit me, T-boned,
Headbutt.
and yeah, it was like to
That's
the side, like this way, like I was going
yeah.
this way, and then he was like hit me, and it was just right in my temple, and I was dazed, confused. I
I thought you
actually
were
ended
playing
up.
football. It was
I
weird.
could.
It was wild. It was
I
wacky.
I was, wrongfully continued playing that game, and then my symptoms were very strange. Like I lost, if I would go for a walk, I would lose feeling in my feet. Very weird stuff. Both feet completely like, just like they weren't there. It was scary. It took a solid, I did all the tests, and it took about a year and a half for that to go away. So yeah, I didn't keep up on that, and yeah, and it really took a huge toll on, and I shared the story in the book in depth, and took a huge toll on my mental health, not having like doing things that I enjoyed. Like I really didn't have you had moved away. All my friends from chiropractic college were gone. I had one buddy who was also like right in the thick of it with kids, so we'd barely spend any time together. So I didn't have mates that I was getting together with on a regular basis. I wasn't playing really any sports. I wasn't working out. Like, and I was just constantly stressed about like the financial side of things, and work, and then being a dad and everything that came about that. And I hit rock bottom, and it was like scary rock bottom. And in the book I talk about this, and I ended up getting out of it. But the biggest lesson for me is that I was missing play in my life in a big way. And so, and we got a little bit of criticism actually, about including this as one of the P6s.
Did we?
I remember, We did. And I was like,
Who was
this
that?
is
I can't remember.
what
Did you do I
should I
know?
say it?
I
Well,
don't know.
I think
Should
it
you?
was,
You know who it
yeah,
is. I don't.
you totally know who it is. You totally know who it
Do
is.
I?
And yeah, I mean, he was instrumental in helping us in a lot of ways. He helped us with Dad's Score and some other things. He was a big part of our, some of the advancements in Daddius. But he wasn't keen on P5, P6. He wasn't keen on play. And I don't see play as optional.
What a
It is
segue,
not
because I
optional.
was just going to say the first chapter in Play is called Play Isn't Optional. It is necessary.
Necessary. It is absolutely necessary. And I don't think I'm alone in what happened. And I think this chapter does a really good job of not just looking at our play, but also looking at the play of our wives and making it as something that you're collaborating on with, because your wife's going through the same thing. I mean, a lot of times women, when the babies are young, like they can't even get a shower, or get food because they're just breastfeeding nonstop, and they're trying to, like, when they got to change diapers, and like they're just stuck. And so some of their really basic needs they're not getting to, let alone getting out to a yoga class or seeing friends. Like, there's times where they're just like right in the thick of it. And so obviously things change, as a baby goes through changes and so on, but there's still a lot of demands. There's a lot going on, and a lot of women might do exactly the same thing that I did, and it's a miserable existence, really, when you have no play in your life. And so it's this collaboration around and recognizing that, hey, like, what can I do to support you, and vice versa? What do you want to do? What's play for you? And having that conversation. What are your top two, three? You right off the top of your head, you're like, these are my go-tos. And I would, if I was asked that question, I'd be able to say these are my go-tos. And wouldn't that be amazing if that's the
Hey,
conversation
Ev.
you're having? Yeah.
Hey,
What?
Ev, what are your go-tos? I
Yeah.
just asked.
Hey, my number one go-to is playing basketball, 100%.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, number two go-to would be with the family, going, like, I don't even know if this counts. I mean, I don't think we really, but like just going somewhere, like a little day trip with the kids, like, to the beach or something like that. It doesn't even have to be something big, but just like spending some time together, whether it's playing games or going to the beach, just getting away from, like, the clean this up,
Monotony.
all that stuff. It's like you're in something that's like an activity of some sort, and you're in it, and I really like that. And yeah, and I think just like getting together with buds is another one. Again, that don't need to be doing anything in particular, but spending some time with friends, whether it's having a conversation with them or getting together, celebrating a birthday, whatever it may be. So, I mean, those are I think my top ones.
Yeah, and I think it's important to realize you only need one.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I could
really
do
do
with
only need
basketball.
one.
I could do with
Well, I
basketball.
know
Only
your 100% top is basketball, because
100%.
family time, of course, is super important and all the rest of it. But I think in Play, we really do focus on, this is really about you, right? It's about
Yeah.
you and getting together with mates, because mateship is so important, right? So not to negate family time, that is thing. But like you said, oh, does that really count? And I'd say inside Play, maybe not. That's inside parenting and passion, and they're all interconnected, of course, but play is really about this mateship, because
Totally.
one of my favorite podcasts, Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, if you don't know that, check it out. He's done a recent podcast where he had a panel on. I think it was three people, I believe. It was a little while ago now, so I may not get this exactly. Well, I am definitely not going to get this exactly right, so don't quote me on the stats. But they were talking about young men in general, right? So not specifically dads, but of course, a lot of young men are dads, right? Mm-hmm. And it was at this point that some kind of, I don't know, crazy power outage, something went wacko on our podcast, and we lost everything. So I'm just going to kind of wrap things up here, and we're going to move on, because there was a lot of funny, good content in there, and I feel like instead of re-recording this podcast, we're just going to go with it, and I'm going to wrap things up. So I was talking about Stephen Bartlett's podcast, CEO. But as you can remember from the beginning of this podcast, it was recorded right around the time of the NBA and NHL finals, which was like June. And this is now September. So I have no idea what I was talking about with that Stephen Bartlett podcast. It was a panel with young men. And I do believe it was around the idea of play, really, because I think off the top of my head, and even at the time of the recording of the podcast, I said, it was a while ago, and I don't think I'm going to get this right. So I'm definitely not going to get it right now, but I'm going to throw it out there as something like, it was talking about men in the UK. It was a specific study came out, and it showed that some ungodly percentage of young men have no friends. And I can't remember the numbers. I can't remember the stats. At one point, I'll probably go back and check it out, and we'll dive deeper into it, maybe even go into that study and have a deep dive. But it was something along the lines of, I'm going to say 40 to 50% of young men in the UK right now have zero friends. And I mean, that's really sad. That's really, really sad. I think about my life, and I've got some really good friends, and play for me is super important. I see that if, even a week goes by that I don't incorporate some kind of play into my life, I start to get down. I see it for myself massively. So super important. So let's see, what do I want to finish off on? A couple of points. Find a friend. If you're listening to this right now and you're one of the stats out there that, doesn't have a true friend, forget about social media, Facebook friends, like a real friend, somebody you can catch up with. And I know it's easier said than done, but think about a couple of commonalities that you might be able to find with a mate of some description, whether you might have a mate that's, not a great mate, but somebody who you have a commonality with, whether it be watching a sport, talking about a sport, playing a sport. In reality, when I think about it, some of my best mates, if it wasn't for sport, I'd barely ever see them, right? So again, back to my two go-tos are mountain biking and golf. And I'll go a little bit into that story. So mountain biking has been a passion of mine for about 7-8 years. Just freaking love it. Not that great. Probably better than most people who don't mountain bike, but compared to the mates that I go out with, geez, some of these guys are amazing, but I try and keep up. But in the last year, I went out about a year ago for a game of golf with a mate, first time in whatever, I might have played on average in the last 15 years, once every 4 or 5 years, like 4, 6, 8 rounds over the last 15 years. And about a year ago, a mate of mine got me out for a round, and he just said, hey, you should check out this podcast. And by the way, it's a freaking awesome podcast called Chasing Scratch. So if you're into your golf at all, super fun. Maybe we'll even get those. Oh, that would be cool. Get those guys on, because they're freaking hilarious. Anyways, shout out to Mike and Eli. Great podcast. Love your work. You're the guys that got me into golf. So I started listening to the podcast, and this mate of mine I barely caught up with, except for at sort of family gatherings, like when my whole family and his whole family would get together. And because of golf, we see each other ideally on average once a week now because we try and get out and play golf every week. So if it wasn't for golf, I would barely ever see that guy, right? So find a friend or two or whatever, but you don't need more than that. One or two friends is enough to make a difference in the realm of play. So long-winded, find a friend, find a commonality, get together on a regular basis. Number two is try and schedule fun. Like same thing, back to golf with me and mountain biking. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't happen. Family, commitments, work, etc. If you don't schedule out ahead of time, talk to your partner about it if you have a partner, and make the time for it, because it is super, super important. Because in reality, in one of the books I wrote called Move It or Lose It, I talk about the idea of movement and exercise is actually more important for your mind than it is your body. Super important to move the body. So I do encourage you in play to make it, if you can, make it movement-based too. Golf, basketball, who cares? Whatever it is, just get out, get the body moving. And remember, play is essential. It's not a maybe. It is an essential part of having a fulfilled life. And remember, Daddius is all about P6. All 6 are important, and play is one of them. Play needs to happen, but sometimes we may go too far into play. So I want to caution on that one too, and make sure that it is part of the equation. We got to have our big picture. We got to have our health. And this is where they're all intertwined, right? Sometimes, I was talking about it earlier, that it might be a family thing that ends up being play. It might be related to passion. And then power can be related to, because it's part of your big vision of having a great life. And then performance can be part of it if movement's involved and it's part of your health. So these are all intertwined and super important. Don't leave one out. It will have you have less of a life than you would choose to. So let me check. Find a friend, schedule fun. It is essential. It's all about health. And that's about it, guys. So I'm going to close this podcast up, and we'll talk to you again soon. That's another episode in the books, dads. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was dadhood.
True story. For more tools to build your best dad life, grab our book, The Daddius Project, or join us at daddius.com.
And hey, if you learned one thing today, you're already winning. Even if that one thing was never trust a 3-year-old with glitter.
Words to live by. Now go forth and dad like a pro.